Hello, and welcome to a very special mini-series of flashbacks for Frontiers of Eberron here on To Be Diced, called What's Past is Prologue. This is Episode 1. Before we begin our next big story arc with our heroes of Wormwatch as they go through the Endworld Mountains to save their friend Delilah and confront whatever it is that is still lurking in the town of Wormwatch. Over the next couple of weeks, we're going to get to know our characters a bit more in depth with some flashbacks that are going to take place in different times in their lives. There might be some reoccurring themes you may see, but what you will know is that this is all before a time where all of these characters really knew who they were and were just starting to figure out what they can do. So with that, welcome, once again, to Frontiers of Eberron. It's time to be diced. We begin several years ago in the city of Sharn, in a district called Ashblack, home to the Cannith Forgehold. House Cannith played a major role in the development of this city, and as the towers of the city rose up in the sky, the lords of Cannith sunk their roots into the ground. Many people work for House Cannith, including our good friend Sylas. Sylas, you wake up at your desk. Your supervisor, a house agent that goes by the name of Adrian, a half-elf individual, bit on the older side, bit gruff. Sylas, how many times do I have to tell you, stop working yourself to the bone?
Hey, it's all right. You know what? I just sleep. I'll sleep when I'm dead. That's fine. It's no
That's
big
the
deal.
thing, you might end up dead if you keep working yourself this way.
Listen, it's all fine. I wasn't even sleeping. I was just resting my eyes.
Yeah, and I own a house up in the Sky Ward. Try another
You do?
one.
Look at you. Maybe I want to be a supervisor someday.
Listen, get some coffee or something, all right? You
I
look
don't
like
drink
your
coffee.
eyes. you, you're gonna need it someday. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well,
Well,
maybe someday.
here's what I'm saying. You've been working 6 days straight. I see you come in. I see you come out. All right. We understand that you're one of our best wandsmiths, but if you don't stop, if you don't take a break every once in a while, it's, I'm sorry to say, but sometimes that stuff gets people worried here a lot, all right?
If somebody's worried, it's me. Because if you're saying that you're watching me come in and watching me go out, that means you're working more than I am. So maybe you should take a nap.
I take breaks.
Breaks are for the
Something
weak.
you should look into if you don't mind. For the health
Ain't-
of my, people that I am meant to be supervising.
Listen, me nor anything that I craft breaks. All right, I'm just saying it's what it's going to be like.
Hey, speaking of which, your stuff's getting noticed. I've been hearing word that the Baron's been keeping a close eye on house agents like you.
Oh yeah, you think so?
No,
Well,
I know so. And he pulls out a piece of paper and hands it to you.
what's this? Love letter?
You say that, and you notice the house Cannith seal on it. And not just any seal, but the imprinted one, the wax seal.
Oh shit! I guess I better cut the sarcasm. Grabs a sharp implement, cuts the seal, opens and reads.
It is from the desk of Baron Merix de Cannith to all Artificer House agents of House Cannith. You're cordially invited to a conference in the in the Ash Black District at our wonderful Forge Hold operation for a ceremony of which our lovely deity of the sovereign host, the Traveler, we will give blessings to our greatest wandsmiths as they journey forth into a new venture under the operating of this dragon-marked house.
Well, well, well. Seems like I've been noticed indeed there, Adrian. He folds it up, kind of tucks it away. I've been invited to a party.
Yeah, you and 20 others.
Hey, that brings my odds down to, 5%. 5% chance. Anything can happen.
How long have you been working for us?
Today or in general?
You know what I mean.
Because the
When were
hours
you-
are pretty similar.
When did you become a house agent?
His Majesty Lord DM, would this be something that generally happens earlier or later on in the lives of?
You are about mid-career right now.
Okay. So probably like a few years, 2 or 3, something like that. It's been a few, couple,
I remember the day that you got your first assignment. And they immediately shot you up to Wandsmith Research and Development because of your uncanny attention to detail. That was 3 years ago. And 3 years later, here you are at the same exact spot. How is it that someone who I can unquestionably say is as brilliant as you are is here among the dregs of the artificers?
Sylas hasn't quite acquired his poker face yet. Therefore, it is plain as the cover of a book that this does get under his skin. But he just kind of shakes his head, plasters on a smile, and just goes, "Maybe this is it." And he kind of shakes that letter and goes, "Maybe this is my time. Go right up there and show Merrick's himself what I'm capable of, what I can do, things that I can do to maybe change wand slinging as a whole."
Hey, keep your voice down, all right? It's a dangerous word around here. You know that. Let it be. Let it go with those, claw feet wranglers over out east. We don't do that. And we don't do it publicly.
Oh yeah.
Kind of looks around. I'm just saying, I would take it as a privilege and an honor to know that if you had the slightest modicum of ambition, and tomorrow I didn't see you at that desk, I would know that I did my job.
Well, let's see what the future has in store.
With that, you hear the shift whistle end. And a good buddy of yours, Francis Franny Hodge. If you wouldn't mind giving a little description of your coworker here.
So he's probably a good like 4 inches taller than Sylas. He's you know, rather handsome elf with short, kind of curly blonde hair. Very charming smile. He's definitely got a quicker wit and a quicker hand. So, like, Silas has always given him tips about how to go about working with his tools. But um, Randy's always been one that definitely is the better talker. So they kind of get along whenever anybody comes, starts poking their head around their little, I don't know, maybe I'm picturing kind of a little shared cubicle-esque scenario. That he kind of deals with them while Silas can keep his nose in a book or his hands on his tools.
He pops his head in just as your supervisor leaves. Silas, it is time for drinks.
Oh, geez, is it that time? Or are you? I mean, look, man, I'm like right here.
No.
Don't
You and I.
don't do that. Come on.
I don't want to hear it. You and I are going to the King of Fire. We are going to enjoy Harith's Folly and all the splendors that it provides, and maybe a few of the women it supplies as well.
So I was gonna kind of look down at what he's working on, and also out of the corner of his eye, that letter that he got. Remind me again, this invitation was for when?
For tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow evening.
Tomorrow evening.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. It is tomorrow, like, late morning before afternoon. Essentially, that's covering your lunch shift, which is, BS.
But you must have to have these things on the clock so that
Yes.
you know. So I was gonna take a deep breath and just kind of like tap his fingers on the desk for a moment and goes, all right, but I got to get up early tomorrow. Like, I always get up early, but like seriously
I promise
early.
you, I will not let you regret tonight.
All right.
You could trust me, right? You always have. I mean, that's your fault for doing so, but still, you could trust me.
I guess that is my fault. All right, shut up before I change my mind.
All right, let's go. And in a flash, the two of you grab your things and head to a district known as the Middle Dora in the city, in Harith's Folly, a tavern district. Buildings of the district are a bizarre mishmash of architectural styles and materials. Narrow spires stand across from squat brick keeps and dense wood halls. In addition to the bridges connecting the great towers of the district, a maze of suspended rope, wood, and stone roads connect the upper levels within the towers, creating the impression of a mad spider web. Music and song can be heard echoing from various towers, and people laugh and run through the streets. And tonight is no different. For everyone is heading to the King of Fire, the most rowdiest of taverns in the area, but under good supervision by muscle that's hired. Whether or not they are involved with a certain crime organization is certainly unspoken about. But as you step in, the music is playing, and tables aplenty that are there, as everyone is gambling.
Silas can't help but walking by, wherever Franny's leading him rather, just kind of checking out the gambling and really quickly doing some calculations on what he would do before, like, snapping back to, oh yeah, we're heading to the bar. Okay, yeah.
And immediately, stepping up to the bar, Franny, as he likes to be called. A round of drinks from me and my friend here. I do believe, as he lifts up his arm and shows his mark of making, dragon mark tattoo, there is a discount for us? And the half-ogre bartender rolls his eyes and reluctantly, "Yep, under order of the Baron." And he goes and grabs 2 large pints of wonderful. Excuse me, I'm forgetting the name of the elves here. Wonderful ale from the region of. Come on. I have this. Arenal.
Best, Michael.
There it is. Arenal. Arenal ale. It is delicious. And just right when it hits your lips, absolutely hits the spot. All right, my friend, this is what it's all about. You and me, we came into this world knowing that we've got what it takes. And now, look at us. House agents for the most spectacular dragon-marked house in all of Corvair. I mean, try and find someone who doesn't know who House Cannith is, right?
Hey, listen now. Listen, we all know that all of the houses are equal in power and authority. And
he
all
immediately
the
starts
other
laughing.
all the other houses know that Cannith sits on top.
Exactly. And let's face it, it's not so lonely at the top, as he points to all of this wonderful attention that his dragon mark tattoo started to get, as he spots a tiefling woman, and he goes, "Speaking of attention, I do believe mine is being taken elsewhere. But here," and he hands you 5 gold. "Try your luck at one of the tables, maybe. You never know." And he gives you a wink as he walks over. "Did I ever tell you that I'm a house agent?"
I love that he has become that guy, like 100%.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's beautiful, beautiful. Sylas is going to kind of smirk, shake his head, and go, "Once again, invite me out for drinks, and then you go off with some broad." All right. He'll kind of signal to have his drink refilled before taking a look at the available games.
They are simple. It seems to be pretty much, there is a poker table, and there is a blackjack table. And then there is one table that is essentially craps.
Blackjack.
Blackjack it is.
100%.
You get to the table. There is a young half-elf female presenting. She's got shock white hair, but like it's in contrast with her very tan skin. She does not look like she wants to be there. And she is wearing essentially, like, it looks like leather armor, but almost like hand stitched together. And she's only smiling because she knows she has to in order to play for everyone and to keep this job. "Hello, sir. Would you like to play tonight? It is a 10 silver buy-in."
Well, it ain't my money I'm spending, so why not? And he'll place a gold on the table.
"Thank you." She deals you your cards. I need you to give me a flat d20 roll, and this is going to be at disadvantage. Is this the first time that Sylas has played cards here?
Here, definitely, Sylas. He's probably played casually, like growing up, just hanging out. Somebody busts out a deck of cards, but actually gambling, this would definitely be his first try.
Okay, then only because it's the first table, I'm going to say disadvantage.
That's
But
fair.
the number is not necessarily going to correspond to something good or bad yet.
I get you. Disadvantage. That'll be a nice hot 5.
5. That is the amount that you have right now.
Well, Sylas definitely knowing how the game is played, at least from a mental standpoint. That's a hit.
Okay. Roll a d12, please.
I didn't get one of those out. You told me that I didn't need them. How dare you?
I'm forgetting. You ever forget? Happened to me. All right, moving on.
I don't think that I've ever forgotten, but perhaps. D12. That's a 10.
Your total is now 15.
15.
You wish to hit or stay, sir?
I think we'll give it one more shot.
She looks at you. Really?
Beginners, whatever you want to call it.
All right. I would like you to roll a d8.
D8. That's a 7.
That's a bust.
Shoot.
Well, beginners, not so luck. I don't know. Thank you for playing, sir. Would you like to deal in again?
You bet I would.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. How much money would you say Sylas has on him at this time?
On him?
Yeah.
Of his own money, maybe not more than 2 gold.
Okay. How long do you think it is before he has nothing?
Well, if I may argue a case here, Sylas chose blackjack because it is more so a game of probability. Therefore, he has begun counting cards.
All right. So with that, I would like you to roll a d20 at advantage.
Aha.
And add +1.
+1. That is a 19.
That is a good number to have. You gain your money back. And we're going to find out how much gold you get back by rolling a d12.
Good thing I still got one of those out. 3.
All right. So back and forth at the end of it, you leave with 3. 2 less than technically you were given, but fair back and forth nonetheless.
He's having fun.
So for intelligence rolls for the rest of this, it will be +1.
Noted.
At this point, Franny comes back with a notable red cheek on his right side. How'd you do, mate?
This game here, it certainly slaps, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, tosser. Well, you know what it is. Lucky in cards, unlucky in love.
Well, maybe just unlucky twice then.
Oh, don't be so hard on yourself.
I didn't lose everything. I got it back, and I'm learning quite a bit.
Well, just take it easy because folks around here might start thinking you're some sort of a card shark. And you know how those halflings don't like people muscling in on their territory, with their territory being every fucking place in this city.
Oh, is it? I don't know many halflings with the last name DeCanneth.
You'd be surprised how much that Barrymore clan has their fingers even in the places you don't expect.
Well, hey, they better not put their fingers in places I don't expect.
I don't know. Have you ever been with that fling before?
We're not having that discussion.
There's
There's a lady present, pointing at the demon.
she looks at you, rolls her eyes, whatever. She does the thing. Shifts over. She leaves. She's like not even. She's like, yeah, fuck off. Yeah. So the two of you take a seat at a table, and once again, he decides to buy another round for you. Sylas, I gotta tell you, I'm excited. I know you got that letter.
Who told you?
He pulls out his copy. The Baron?
Well, hot shit. Who'd you have to sweet talk to get yourself one of them letters?
I mean, I would have gotten it anyway.
Listen, I've seen your work.
He points to the tattoo.
I've seen your work, sir. And, you might have gotten one, after a few more years sitting at the desk next to mine.
Are you insinuating that I cheated off of your homework?
I'm not insinuating anything. I'm telling you that your work's shoddy at best. And then he just kind of like nudges him in the shoulder.
Yeah, you're lucky you're my friend. Or else
exactly.
I would have said something very stern and walked away.
Yeah, it's because I'm your friend that I can say that. If you were just my coworker, I would say, perhaps you might want to take another look at it.
Ooh, look at you knowing exactly where to hit.
Hey, corporate world. I've been in here for a few years. Picked up a thing or two.
If only that sharp wit and superb mind had you observing the fact that you're better than this, my friend. Come on. Sure, House Agent has its perks. It's a title that a lot of others just around the city, if they don't know any better, think it's something actually more special. But you and I both know it's not always about just having that title. It's being somewhere special with those titles.
Well, let's just call it that we're starting at the bottom. Everybody's got to start somewhere, right?
Well, what if there was something more?
Oh, my lord, it sounds like you're about to break out in song. Just lay it on me. Go ahead.
He scoots in just... Have you ever heard of the Darkwood Watch?
Have I heard of the Darkwood Watch? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Well?
I should slap you for insinuating that perhaps I don't know who the Darkwood Watch is.
Sylas, I could tell when you're bullshitting me.
What? Are you going to tell me who the Darkwood Watch is? Please.
Well, you seem to already know, so you might as well tell me.
All right. His Majesty Lord DM. What could I tell him about the Darkwood Watch?
Nice try. He's gonna roll. I want you to roll deception.
Flat rolls for.
Yep.
Yeah. So with it just being the die, that's a 17.
Okay. No joke. 19. He looks at you and goes, well, because you already know, I'll refresh your memory.
Mm-hmm.
The Darkwood Watch are the most elite wand adepts of House Cannith. They're the ones who know the real goings-on. And I've heard a rumor that they might be at this ceremony to scout their next member.
Huh. You think so?
Yes. If you're
Well,
in
isn't
with
there
them,
only 3 of them or something like that?
the numbers vary from time to time, and I think at this point there might be 5 of them.
Interesting.
And they guard a secret. And if you get in with them, whatever that secret is, it's going to afford you limitless amounts of whatever you can think of to create whatever your imagination has the ability to do.
Are you certain you want to say that to me? Because I can imagine quite a bit.
You see his face suddenly get serious. Imagine what we could discover. Imagine having all of... We could rebuild Sire if we wanted to. We could make a new Metro and have the prosperity and the future in our hands.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
I don't know if we should hear, though.
Well,
Listen.
With that, Silence is going to kind of peek around and kind of like, with the intent of basically like, who the hell would be watching us, but also potentially catching if somebody would be watching us.
Give me a perception, and I will let you add +1 to this.
+1. That's a 19.
Okay. So, with a watchful eye, you can see that in his excitement, Franny may have spoken a bit too loud in some spaces. And your eye catches a halfling who's kind of now has had his feet on the table of a booth across, but not too far from you, and is starting to look your way a little bit. Maybe a little too much for your comfort.
So this is going to kind of like look around with that nonchalantness and then see this and kind of like, you know what, I think that you're a little bit more right than you think you are. Let's just, is it time to buy in for this next round, or?
He kind of gets the hint. He's like, oh, you old sod, come on, let's hit up another place, all right?
Yeah, I got you.
He pays
Taverns
the
are a
tab
dime a
very
dozen.
quickly. Puts his arm around you like, come on here, look at we're gonna rule this city. Goes through the doors and just you kind of take a quick look and head down a more quieter area, hopefully out of earshot of anybody possibly. So, yeah, that's what I was saying to them. And he maneuvers his hand into a gesture, and you recognize him casting the silence spell on an area so that no one could hear in or out.
Right.
All right. We're safe.
Okay.
So here's
what
what I know.
What the hell did you do to bring them onto you already? You talk too freaking loud.
Don't you worry about them, okay? We need to start worrying about I may have been approached by a possible lead. they laid it on a little thick that they were looking for, that higher ups, as they put it, were looking for people to work closer with Merrick's. And apparently, it might have something to do with trying to rebuild everything that got lost. We're really lucky to still have jobs after the day of mourning.
Yeah, I got that. I know that a lot of people were hit. A lot of
Hit
good
is a nice
Smiths.
way of saying, like, our entire central headquarters was destroyed by something.
Yeah, something. You know why they'd call it something?
Because they won't tell us what they actually know.
Listen, we're the house of making, but you think that we don't know? Listen, you and I both know that anything is possible so long as you can put your tools to it, but it's just about how long it take. I mean, possible, sure, just like, and this is the house that literally made people out of wood and metal. Should call it the house of possibility.
Well, maybe.
Holy crap, did I just say that? Oh, man.
Yeah, you should work for their PR department. Jesus.
I know, right? Holy
Jeez.
crap. I've been working too close to Adrian.
He's a real weirdo, isn't he?
Yeah, no, not the weirdest.
I mean, I get it. He's very well-intentioned, but it's just like,
yeah.
I don't know. He feels like a lurker to me, you know? Whatever.
Yeah. Well, we're also weird, so who can really blame him?
Oh, we're eccentric.
There you go. Now you're sounding like rich folk. We got that promotion in the bag.
All right. Just keep a pair of eyes in the back of your head.
Yeah, I'm working on something that can actually do that. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Yeah, especially maybe 3 feet lower to the ground, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he dispels the silence, and you guys both part ways, heading back to your respective districts where you live. Before the next day starts, what's Sylas thinking in this moment?
I'd imagine that he wakes up with the same intention, business as usual. Have breakfast, take a shower, get ready, go to work, try to make things as best as he can. But there's just every now and then those distractions, which are the fact that there's this big meeting. There's now potentially scouts for the Blackwood Watch. There's potentially now a reclamation effort for the land of Seer. It's just like, as he's just trying to focus on what he's doing, what he has to do, it's kind of, he gets into that mentality of, we're doing this so that we can do the next step. And then that next step goes, well, what if it's this? Maybe we're going to this. And every single time he has to reground himself, kind of shake his head, get back into trying to stay in the moment.
And as you drift off with all those notions in your head, the next day begins. And for the first time in maybe ever, you hear in the back of your head, you should try coffee. You're thinking about it.
I was thinking that because based off of that conversation, this is an important meeting. Do not want to fall asleep in the middle of this meeting. Sylas would have a reputation of being the person who falls asleep just from working himself too hard. So He stops for a cup of coffee.
You are fired up. Your synapses are going crazy. Where has this been your whole life? It's very much like the scene of George of the Jungle, where he eats the coffee beans for the first time. He's just jumpa, 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 jumpa. And you zoom to work. I mean, you could walk there if you wanted to, faster than the small airships that are transporting people from district to district. And you do arrive eventually. And as usual, first one in. And Adrian is not too far behind as he sets himself up in his office as the whistle blows and the sounds of machinery start to once again go off. And I would like you to now roll a d20 at advantage and add +1.
Ooh. That's an 18.
Fantastic. What is the most recent project that Sylas has been working on at this time?
Officially or unofficially?
I'll let you decide.
Officially, I can kind of see that, like, part of what he's doing. He's in R&D. I'd say officially, he's being tasked with trying to test out the different woods from the borders of the element, or like near that pop up near the portals to elemental planes, to test to see what happens when they are used as arcane foci, being the Fernian ash and other special woods that come from the world of Eberron, to see, like, yeah, they're being used a bit, but let's see, is there anything else that we can do with them? Unofficially, he knows that the real power is in Kyber. He knows it. He knows that is going to be the best way to get the most literal bang for your buck out of whatever you're putting in your hand. So, in both of those respects, he is trying to reinvent the wheel, as it were. He is trying to make the standard issue sidearm of House Cannith and eventually the world to go from a 22 to a 50 cal.
Both of those projects are going quite well, but clearly you know where your ambition lies. And you've been able to keep this off the books quite well. And as the day goes through, the daily copy of the Sharn Inquisitive newspaper comes by. And you do see that there is a headline that catches your attention about how a dragon shard mining boom may be in the process of actually being uncovered. If people were to head east in Kabara, there have been deposits of large amounts of dragon shards, and it seems that a new industry is starting to form. There's also word of a brand new arcane research and development team that is looking into setting up shop in a town in Kubara, yet to be determined.
They'll just kind of read it over and nod and go, we'll see how that goes for them.
So you zoom through the day, and eventually those house agents that were invited, Franny quickly gets to you. He's like, this is it? You ready to go?
I put on my good shirt today. I made sure I remembered. I washed it last night when I got home. Everything's solid.
That looks like the same shirt, but just ironed.
What do you think I was talking about? I have two shirts.
I know, and you look amazing in both of them. He takes you, and you head to essentially this kind of like banquet hall that has been reserved. There is this is up in the Skyward District, the wealthiest district in all of the city. It is the literal, like, financial, it is the socioeconomical hierarchy that is represented at the very top of the city, where the wealthiest literally rise above the rest. And it is there that essentially the real power resides. That is where everyone who is in the know knows that that's where the deals are made, that's where discussions are held, and that is where, if you want to get something done, it's going to be done by those people. So a skiff takes you up there, and you get to a nice banquet hall that is hosted by House Orion, actually, or at least it's owned by. And House Cannith has rented it, the entire facility, out, much to the chagrin of those who would like to have used it that day. There you see 19 other house agents, one or two you may know other than Franny. And there is a lot of mingling going on. There's a lot of, all types are employed by House Cannith. One of the things that they pride themselves on is the diversity of employment throughout all nations of Corvair, brought together in this unifying moment of the city. You know, though, that's a crock of shit. A lot of these house agents are former, not quite soldiers, but their artificing ability was certainly used in the last war. And it's no surprise, or secret really, that they were snatched up by Baron Merrick's de Cannith to work for him. Which is why he has the corner on all arcane technologies. There is good food. There is good drink. There is plenty of wonderful entertainment from the Bards Guild that come by. There are speeches from certain, district leaders. A few political affiliates are coming by and commending the house agents for their wonderful work. All of which you just kind of glaze over you. Most of the time, you and Franny are mocking the rest of the people that are here in people-watching effort.
For the most part, but Sylas would make it a point to, rub elbows as much as he, with whom he needs to, kissing hands and shaking babies. That whole 9 yards.
You do actually run into a well-to-do halfling who was introduced to everyone as Uraborn Silverbay. Stout individual, resembling more of culture of a dwarf with very long bearded braid, but still the same stature of a halfling individual. What did you say your name was again, son?
Sylas de Cannith.
Ah, Sylas. House Agent Sylas de Cannith. Well, if I can remember, I saw your name on the list. You're one of the wandsmiths, eh?
That's right.
How's that going for you?
It's straight shooting. That's what that is.
Well, I've been meaning to ask why. At least I've been meaning to ask Merrick's. Why is it that they are withholding this type of protection from our troops in the Sharn Watch? A crossbow can only go so far against a criminal organization like the Dask or the Boromar clan.
I honestly wish that I could tell you more. I'm in research and development. I'm not exactly in PR, distribution, or anything like that. I just
forget the BS talk, right? We're just two individuals who love what they do.
Right.
Give it to me straight. What is it that you really want to do for this house?
Huh. If there's something that I have learned in all my years practicing artifice of all kind, I am a wandsmith primarily, but I also have some skills with alchemy, with magical jewelry, just tinkering of all kinds, if you will. But just in general, we've all gotten here because somebody sat there and went, we can do that better. It didn't matter what it was. It could have been making a fire, could have been cooking a meal, could have been building a house. Somebody's always said we could do that better. And it's just been that cycle until today, where now we are harnessing the very weave itself. And even still, I'm looking at a lot of things going on here. I can do that better.
Takes a look, takes a moment. Finishes his drink. Now, between you and me, I'm no fan of Mirishana. What he did to his son, exiling him during the war, I don't agree with that one bit.
I don't care for the man's politics, but he's definitely a brilliant mind. I can't take that from him.
A brilliant mind is a brilliant mind. But the soul that inhabits the body of that mind can still be full of tar. We need clean souls running this house. You seem like you've got a good one.
Well, then that means that I clean up nicely.
I'm gonna remember you, Sylas.
I
Enjoy
sure
the
hope
rest
you
of the
do.
night.
You too. You as well, sir.
He walks off, and Franny looks at you. Hey, look at you.
Ow.
Rubbing elbows.
Shut your gob.
Do you know who that was?
Mr. Silverby, I do believe.
Not just Mr. Silverby. That was the guy. The guy.
All right, which guy? There's a lot of the guy. Mirishana is a guy. You are a guy.
Spoke about.
Oh shit.
Yeah. He's one of them.
Okay, all right. I'm picking up what you're putting down. All right.
And
So
he spoke to you.
yeah, I guess.
Look around and tell me that every single other house agent isn't staring a hole in your head because of who that was and what he said to you.
Are they in fact staring holes in my head?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
This is the other side of the coin. Sylas is this good because he does not pay attention to the politics of things. So he's like, I don't know, man. He was a halfling. He was asking me what I wanted to do with my life, so I told him. Little did he know he was talking to Elon Musk. Like,
yeah, essentially.
My bad.
He kind of like, all right, listen. We need to capitalize on this. All right? You need to keep this momentum going.
All right.
They're going to want to see you. So when this ceremony starts, you better be standing in the front with me.
Oh, you bet.
All right. Are you nervous?
No, I'm not nervous. That was a 9. He's sweating bullets.
Right.
Yeah, we're good.
I'm gonna get another drink.
I
I
better not.
think I need it.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, I actually tried coffee. Do they have coffee here? Maybe that'll help.
I thought a little extra energy. Welcome to
I'm
joining
gonna go get some
society,
coffee. I'll be right
Sylas.
back. And he's gone.
Yeah. So an hour of rubbing elbows and uh, drinking and sharing stories, and actually getting along with a lot of the other house agents. Alcohol always helps that. Um, a representative, a warforged individual, steps forward, adorned in very nice outfits. Ladies and gentlemen, and all friends beyond the binary, we respectfully require your attention, and let us begin with the introduction of your Baron and the leader of our esteemed Dragonmark House, Merix DeCaneth. A large applause of respect and adulation as this wise-looking gentleman with slicked black hair. He's a human. He's got the pointed goatee, Stephen Strange style, and he's in the equivalent of a medieval three-piece suit. You know what I mean? It's like just high quality fashion, and he's shaking hands. He's doing the whole wave point thing, and gets to the podium where the amplifying device, personally built, House Kenneth product, only the best. House agents, welcome. This is a special time. This is a time where you become more than just House agents. You become part of the core of House Kenneth. Every year, we bring our best to this wonderful space, and we give praise to our sovereign host god, the traveler, the watchful eye of all tinkerers across this great world. So I ask that you all raise your ceremonial wands as we begin our proceedings. And I will introduce at this time our cleric and spiritual advisor, and a dwarven female arrives. She is gray silver hair, wearing the vestments of the sovereign host, and she is introduced as. Oh, pardon me, my name list froze. Yes, cleric Honora Rochard. Greetings, house agents. Blessings of the sovereign host be upon you all. And let this magic weave its way into your very hard-working souls. The spirit of the traveler moves all across this world, blessing those who use their hands to create, not to destroy, to build, not to tear down, to mend, not to separate or divide. May your tools be ever useful wherever they may be, wherever you are. And a light shines and emanates out of their hands, and small globules of white light go from one tip to one tip and then connect in beams, interconnecting until like a giant arcane light web is around all of your wands held high, collectively then coming together in a show of bursting energy, sprinkling down now to everyone in a nice ceremonial showing. There's thunderous applause for everyone as Baron once again takes the stage. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy. Be merry, as the old saying goes. Eat, drink, and try not to have too much fun. He'll be going around and speaking to others, and that's when Franny comes up to you. They want to see us.
Ooh, which one? There's a lot of people here.
Knocks you on the head. You know who. Come on. Stop messing with me.
Finishes his coffee, which is just straight black. And he doesn't know that there's a way to make it taste good. He's just gonna, yeah. All right, well, no time like the present, right?
All right, follow me. And he leads you over to the halfling gentleman that you met previously. Eberron Silverbee brings you in to a private room just off to the side. There is a large round wooden table with the House Cannith symbol adorned in the center. This seems to be a meeting room for upper echelon house members. There are 4 seats, 2 of which you take your seats in. He takes his, and he's kind of silent and just gives you both a nod. There's still kind of silence. Franny speaks up. Are we waiting to someone? And Silverbee goes, he'll be here in a moment. And an awkward silence plays until eventually through the door, Baron Merix de Cannith, your 4th guest.
No pressure.
Gentlemen, please, sit. We're friends here now. Sylas, Francis. Or do you prefer Franny? Either one is fine, sir. I've been told very good things about what you two do. Premier wandsmiths. Francis, you've been working on some very interesting tinkering tools. Versatile. Sylas, you're interesting. Because, well, everything you've turned in has been excellent. Top of the field. We've loved every single thing that's come through. But my question is, why aren't you showing us everything?
Silas is gonna go beet red. Well, yeah, I gotta admit, you kind of got me at a little bit of a loss here. It's just, I've only been at this for a few years. Don't want to, start making waves. Just trying to do my job.
I'm gonna stop you right there.
Okay.
Tell me, right now, right here, What are you working on that you would not like to disclose to your own house?
If I may, for clarification, sir, it's not that I don't want to disclose it with the house. It's that I want to make sure that it is cohesive and together. I do not like to waste people's time. However,
so you thought that using the house resources to create this project of yours, but off the books, was a good idea?
yes, it was absolutely a good idea because it is turning out the way that I foresaw it to be turning out. It's not
So you think that you're
finished.
above the supervision level and that you know what's best, and not to be bothered by procedure or protocol or even respect for your house.
Have you ever, to Michael, have you ever like been in some sort of like interview or something where you know the the truthful answer sounds bad, but you feel like it's a good thing? Yeah, that's where we're at right now. So this is gonna kind of like, yeah, this is gonna kind of like straighten up, adjust himself a little, and just like, sir, if I may, I am a person of results, and I actually have them. The usage of Kyber dragon shards for arcane foci, specifically for soldiers who specialize in certain types of elemental magic. It's untapped potential. Yes, we use Kyber a little bit here and there, mostly for things like the lightning rail or for airships, but using them offensively is something that the military of the entirety of Corvair could benefit from. Now, the small scale, we're talking wands, but beyond that, quarterstaffs for heavy infantry. Beyond that, potentially artillery. I mean, when you start something small, it is just the pebble rolling down that begins the rock slide, and we're holding the pebble.
I'm going to let you two in on a secret. You see Franny just tense up at that sentence. The war may be over. The treaty may have been signed. And an entire nation was lost. But that doesn't mean that there can't be another war, or that there won't be another war. Not every nation that was declared the 5 nations of our continent get along. I think that's quite clear.
Crystal.
I think it would be a good idea to have this idea of yours be developed further if, for any reason, there is a need for this kind of technology. Granted, we all hope it doesn't come to that. But if we were the first, then any nation would be willing to have our house. You've just become our greatest bargaining chip.
That's excuse me, sir. That is certainly high praise coming from the Baron himself.
I'll tell you what, the two of you because I really like what both of you have done. I want you to bring together all of those ideas, as many of it as books of whatever you've written down, any research reports, anything that you have. Bring them to our office tomorrow morning, first thing. Gather up your things tonight because you're going to be joining us over at that office starting tomorrow. And I don't want to hear no.
Sylas is gonna kind of like side eye Franny and like
Franny's just going, yep, anything you say.
he'll clear his throat again and just, yes, sir, absolutely.
We have a deal. He puts his hand out.
He's going to give him a firm handshake with all of my 9 strength.
We flash forward to that night. After you have gathered your materials, of course, Franny has celebrated a bit more than he usually does. He's stumbling a bit with the gathering of books, the cleaning out of your desks, but for all the right reasons. Granted, you two are the only ones at your in the factory, as it were. And he is going on and on about how this is finally our moment. This is what we were ready for. This is what we were made to do. This is... And his body freezes and stops.
Franny? No, what? Franny? And just kind of like smack him, trying to wake him up.
When you touch him, he falls prone, collapse, still in that same position.
Looking around. Is there anybody else around?
It's very dark all of a sudden. The lights are no longer on everywhere, and shadows are surrounding you. You've been in this place at night, but there's usually some sort of light to help guide the way out. It seems as though at this point, your desk has been spotlit. And then you start to hear loud, thumping footsteps.
Sylas is going to grab a hammer in one hand and a wood chisel in the other.
Footsteps are metallic against the floor. And eventually, coming into the light, the Warforged that introduced Baron is standing before you. 7.5 feet tall. Wide-shouldered. This time, not wearing any sort of regal type of adornment, but instead, simply as they were made. And you see, from their arm, collapsing back in, a projectile device. He looks at you. I'll be taking those off your hands.
No, I don't think you will.
He pops an arm blade out. I have been requested to fulfill a task by any means necessary. And he slowly moves the point of the arm blade to Franny's chest. You will comply under orders of the Baron.
This is horse shit. This is horse shit, and you know it.
I don't care about you. And I never will.
For clarification, I have no things at this point.
Nope. If you do not comply, you will be terminated. And I don't mean fired. Hand me the documents.
Silas is trying to think of every possible angle. He's smart. He's able to look at he's a problem solver. He's a problem solver, and at this point in time, he is not a fighter.
I will ask you one last time. Give me what I came here for. Points the blade even closer into the chest of Francis.
He's going to just kind of nod slowly, drop the tools in his hand, just go, all right. Calm yourself now. Just give me a moment. He's picking up his notes, his books, his blueprints, all of his data that he's collected, all of his schematics. He's putting them in his bag. Is there a window?
Not too far, about 30 feet.
We're dashing for the window, going right through it.
You run. But what you hear behind you is a blade piercing through flesh.
Shit.
And then a chase of metal footsteps running after you. For every 2 steps you take, you can hear 4 behind you. It gains closer, and it is picking up speed. And eventually, are you diving through the window?
I am diving through the window.
I would like you to roll a d20 and add 2.
Don't fail me now. 19.
19. You take the bag first to break the window before you, and you just get out of reach of the claw that attempts to grab you. And you realize you're falling. There are several levels of city before you will eventually hit the bottom, and it is going to be bad.
Yep.
But you know this, and you're aware that in case of emergencies, all citizens of Sharn have a Featherfall token on them.
When
It
you're
is,
traveling
though,
by
a
airship,
one-time
makes
use.
sense. Well, I only need one.
You slam it down through your wrist device that is holding it, and you slow down your fall, and you watch as you are looking now at what essentially is your past. You realize there's no turning back. You fall further and further, slowly. You've kept falling in life. A year passes by. You're no longer in Sharn. You haven't been in quite some time. You can't go back. You hitch on to caravans that find their way to different cities, different towns. You hear about a new development of a town trying to call themselves New Sire, making themselves a sovereign nation. They're no more than 10,000 refugees in a tent city. But then you hear about a town that's being settled near a dragon shard mine. And you get a tip from a fellow you were introduced to named Clinton Hildwick. Advises you, set up shop. Come be that town's artificer. And if you want, I'll get you some work as well. And you do. You may have lost everything in the old life, but since then you gained a new one. And with a new start comes new opportunities, as bizarre as they may have been over this time. And with that, we will take our first break before we go to part 2 with Sister Mira. We'll be right back, everybody. And welcome back. I should have unmuted myself. With one tale done and another beginning. Once again, in a different district of Sharn. An area known as the Fallen, where a temple of the Silver Flame looks over the poor, the hungry, the needy. Fallen is the worst district in a bad ward. At first glance, the district looks like it's in ruin. Huge chunks of scattered around the outer streets. Statues of the gods look down upon the citizens, but many have shattered features or missing limbs. A few buildings and bridges have collapsed in whole or in part, and most of the surviving buildings show some amount of scarring and damage. A century ago, it was known as God's Gate, the first temple district of the city. But as it grew, the primary temples relocated to the higher wards, and the most important relics were taken to sovereign towers. Some of the temples remained in service, but most were converted to serve as housing for workers in the cogs, the lowest of districts. For hundreds of years, Fallen slowly decayed. And the final blow came in 918 of the Year of the King, when the glass tower broke apart as it fell, and most of the floating citadel landed in the Dagger River. Not of water, but of the molten core of the earth. Some of its spires struck the district of God's Gate, shattering buildings and killing hundreds. It is this area of renewal and possible spiritual salvation that we find Sister Mirishana of the Silver Flame. Sister Mira, you look about and see this city in ruins. You've watched as over time those that financially prosper literally put themselves above others. It is not the life that you have been taught. You have lived in this city for quite some time, in the Cliff Top District, mainly a dwarven area, cultured and inviting. But your time with the Church of the Silver Flame has allowed you to see the best and worst of this city. Here, in this area known as the Fallen, in this ramshackle temple, but still enough to bring in believers and those looking for hope. Different tribes of people who live in the area. Those who've been trying to reform from their ways, either in a life of crime or falling into terrible, destitute habits. This is what is known as the Blackstone Church. There are many shattered temples in the fall, and broken statues of the sovereign host look down upon these ruins. But this is the only one temple that still operates among them. The first temple to the Silver Flame. Once this church was tended by dozens of acolytes and filled offerings and relics. Today, dust and shadows sway, and a single priest administers to the flame. Fayella, a female half-elf, not part of the church hierarchy of Sharn, but she saw that there was and took up residence in the abandoned church. Eventually, followers came, and those who wanted to become more helped out those who were in need. You among them. the only one of your kind found in this church, but one looked upon as an equal to Fayella. You wake up in the morning of another day, but the only reason you know it's morning is because the clock has told you so. In the Fallen, there's no light that comes in. It is buried beneath a city that looks down upon it, literally and, unfortunately, societally. Your room in the church is small, modest, simple, with only the necessities. Take us through your morning routine in this chapel.
Mira rises, now her body almost on autopilot. She sort of trained herself to wake at this time without having the rays of light shine on her face as it normally would have in the clifftop district. She rises, she makes her bed all neatly, and then she conducts at least half an hour of meditation, sort of gathering her wits, recalling what she might have, well, her equivalent of dreaming in the past night, seeing if there were any sort of messages or impressions that she received that could guide her day or give warning to what she might experience going forward. And then she'll attend to the main areas of the church to see what Fayella may be needing before grabbing breakfast.
She greets you in the common area. Small. Again, all of this architecture is stonework, only adorned by a few tapestries that have survived over the years. Fayella is looked upon with a lot of respect by other sisters of the church here. She devotes most of her time to the poorest and the most wretched who have fallen. And when you wake up, you find her doing exactly that, as she speaks to a male tiefling she addresses as Akos. And he is head in hands to her on a stone bench that is built into the wall of this area. Mother Fayella, I don't know what to do anymore. I have no money. I have no home. I have no life anymore. It has all been taken away by all of them up there. And he starts to weep. Fayella puts a hand on his shoulder. My dear sweet child. You, worthy of all of these feelings, you must know that you are giving yourself permission to feel them, and that is more so than any of the ones up there who look down on you can say for themselves. You may be surrounded by darkness, but here in this place, the light of the flame shines upon all of us. And we need to bask in that glow so that we can see where it wants to lead us. I would love if you could help us around here. We could always use an extra hand to help serve those who come in looking for a simple meal or a place to sleep when they don't have anywhere else. You know this area quite well. It may have taken everything from you, but I'm here to let you know the light will provide. And he breaks down again. Thank you so much, Mother Fayella. Thank you so much. I will do as whatever you need. And I will keep this flame in my heart. It shall provide the light I need to see the way. I owe you everything. No. Akos, you owe us nothing. We owe you guidance. Sister Mira, she sees you. It's so good to see you. I was just welcoming another member. Akos, this is Sister Mira. She is such a lovely soul. I hope that you come to know her radiance that she brings to our church.
Mira flushes. Hearing what Reverend Mother was saying to Iko, she had briefly stepped away to pour a cup of chamomile, as the mother is known to utilize a number of non-magical healing tactics, and this is not the first distressed soul that has come through our doors. She brings the cup of tea over to Ikos and offers it to him. Some tea to warm your body, Mother, as the light warms your soul.
Thank you. Thank you so much. He gladly takes it and finds himself a nice spot to just relax and enjoy this tea as Mother Faela greets you and begins to walk with you through this temple, taking note of people who have come in and out, and the usual morning discussions. And eventually she looks... I feel like sometimes we're not doing enough here. Did you ever get those feelings of almost getting stalwart?
Every now and again, I do wonder why this place, this temple, this district that was once the first to be dedicated to our beliefs, the spirituality, could just be left behind as almost a stepping stone. And it feels like what we do what we can, Mother. But I wonder if we could ever bring together the resources to do more.
You know, I used to live amongst them up there. I hated it. Nothing
You
felt
don't speak
genuine.
often of your time up there.
I try not to. It wasn't the most memorable, or at least for the reasons I'd rather it be. Yes, I learned, and I was educated, and Morgrave University provided me a fantastic education. But then I didn't know what to do. And I felt there was something more. The church found me when I needed it most. And now, I'm so glad that others like you have found it as well.
You're an inspiration to many of us. I'm sure you've heard it more than once before, but it is the truth.
It's hard for us to truly know ourselves sometimes. I'm simply just a person here, put on this world to do something, or perhaps just part of the cosmic coincidence that is the spurning of any life form here. But when you walked through our doors, looking to be part of this, I knew my purpose then. It was to bring people in and make them feel welcomed. And I truly hope that I've been able to do this for you.
Absolutely. It is different from the church above, as you can imagine. While we are fewer in number down here, it seems as if the impact that we leave on those around us is more. We feel that we've made a difference in ways simple rituals or ceremonies don't quite have as much of an effect. If that makes sense. Not to discredit what our brothers and sisters topside do, but it feels more personal, yeah. It makes me feel good, yeah.
And yet they stay up there. What is it that they fear?
They fear, I think, what they don't know and what they can't control. And there is a lot of resentment and grief and sadness here, I felt, walking the streets, mourning what they once had or never have.
You're too good for this place. You know, you are so wise, so beyond your years, that there are so many more people that should be listening to you. You know, I've spoken with elders who are looking to spread the church's words to all new areas. There was a priest in New Sire who's helping the refugees there. There's priests in Zendrick who are speaking to the former war clans, and in Karnath and in Erenol, and I dare say even some in Arganes. And can you imagine the dragons listening to people like us?
That feels like a fairy tale. So many more dragons greater than we. It's unimaginable.
And yet, we are all the same because the light touches us equally.
Of course.
I've never asked about this, but I've always been curious about your kind, as it were. You know, there are a few of the little ones in town that they believe you to be an angel come down.
Oh. You too many stories, I believe.
Sometimes
and she's sort of just like fiddling with her fingers, like, oh.
Sometimes the stories I hear of your graciousness, I'm one to perhaps start believing this.
I follow only by your example, Mother, please.
Well, while I settle in our newest helper, I would much appreciate if you would be able to go to the market to pick up more supplies for the temple. There are a small assortment of things that we usually need, but I have heard that Akos is very, very fond of a particular fruit from the Dwarven district. I think the name was... Oh... In Akos, you just hear it is a crude name, but they are called Hellfire Berries. It is not as bad as it seems.
Are they spicy?
You might call them. They're also called Kyber fruit. But they're Very, very good. Very, very good way to wake up early.
I'll take your word for it.
Akos and I will be talking about what kind of duties they will be fulfilling here, but
Mm-hmm.
and she hands you, a few of the
Shopping list.
hands you a list and a few of the sewn handbags that are used for gathering supplies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, on your way, and if you feel the need to take some time for yourself too, we are in no rush here.
I will be back shortly. In terms of question. In terms of purchasing supplies in the Fallen District, is it more via currency or via bartering and trading?
There are places where bartering absolutely still exists. Currency has never been really too much of an issue, as it is a city law for churches and temples, places of worship, to be given essentially what is a stipend for service. Because while money doesn't financially support the temples, there are obviously a need for the individuals to be able to pay for things. So while it may seem like a pittance, it is enough to buy the necessities. And that is provided by independent causes, certainly not by the Dragon Mark houses, as they hate that.
It's not profitable to them, so why should they?
Exactly. If faith can't be bought, why bother? There are a few places in your home district that would be perfect to pick up supplies. And as you take a skiff from one area to the next, seeing really how the higher you go, the prettier the architecture gets. And eventually you arrive from one section of the city to another, going to a place, an area called Rowan's Gate, in a shop called Rildo and Wallens. These are usually they're known for their fish, and they're very good at getting the best catches of the day from the beautiful, gigantic lake that's just outside of the city. The smell of all of the foods and spices that are herbs and plants that just surround this market are overwhelming to the senses to outsiders, but are welcoming to those who know it all the time. And you see the some would say offensively smelling smell, but this is not necessarily that. That is a fresh fish smell. They are jokingly touted as being mostly fresh.
Fun
But
fact:
you
fresh
also
fish doesn't have an odor.
yes, exactly.
That's why we would squeeze the lemons to neutralize the smell. I'm sure they know that trick.
Of course they do, and that is why there is a plethora of lemons available. Rildo Hoberwash, a large, plump, friendly man, face of the business, usually working at the counter, bartering with potential buyers, has an excellent memory and always recognizes a returning customer, of which when he spots you, Sister Mira, hello, you've come back once again with your beautiful presence. We are graced right now in the presence of everyone. Behold this one. No one's paying attention
Rildo,
to him. He's not
please.
paying.
Oh,
He's just making a show of this. What
good
can I do
morning
for
to
you, my
you.
dear? What can I do for you?
Provisions for the church. I was, of course, in the market for a fresh catch.
Well, we have a daggerhead trout today that is just It's a favorite of the goblins, but it is really something else.
What would you recommend if I were to make some sort of seafood-based stew, something that could help feed the many mouths that we've had recently? I was hoping with my own stipends to actually add a few more spices to the list that the mother has not necessarily included, but I think it would be a welcome reprieve. Just a little bit extra. Nothing special today, but good
I would
people
like
deserve good
you.
things.
I would like you to add +2 to a d20 roll right now. This will be
Sure.
persuasion.
Oh, lovely. 18.
18. He looks at you. You know, you're the only person that I like to give my best stuff to. I just can't help myself.
Mm.
But I haven't told anybody yet because we just got it, but we have a bluefin bitterfish.
Oh.
Do not be alarmed by its name. It is actually quite delicate and quite delectable. Don't worry, we take the poison out. I'm just kidding.
I believe you. You have the precision for it.
There's no poison. I just mess with people about that. You know, I get. But yes, I have a good 3 or 4 pounds available that, we'll make sure we put on ice so it's still good for you. I know you have a long ways to go.
I will be happy to take that off your hands, and I promise I will take the utmost care in preparing it.
He gets his partner Wallen Hoberwash. Wallen Hoberwash, his brother, a skinny, harsh-looking man, obviously the one who does the fishing of the two. His face is weathered from days spent out on water, and he squints through 2 barely visible slits for eyes because they almost look like they're permanently squeezed shut. Even though he's the younger of the two, he looks like he has aged so much quicker than his older brother. And you just hear that, yes, I'll get it. Oh, Sister Mira, so good to see you. And he just
Good morning to you
adjusts his
too.
wide glasses. Yes, I'll get that bit of fish for you, no problem. He runs back, and you get a haversack, large haversack filled with ice and the pieces of fish in it. And Rildo says, "Consider this a donation to the church for everything that they
Oh,
do for us."
gentlemen, you are far too kind. May the light shine upon you both.
Oh, you are so sweet. We clearly have embraced the blessing because look how many great people are here today. And Wallen is after says that the younger brother Wallen is immediately yelling at a staff member who is putting something in the wrong place, according to him. Don't mind him. He's angry all the time.
I wish a good day of business for you.
And I wish every good day to you forever and ever and ever and ever and ever.
Too kind. Might you know, actually, you're quite familiar at the marketplace. Would you happen to know where I could get any kaiba fruit in season? Hellfire berries.
Kaiba fruit. Oh, yes. I think that there is a. Yes. There is a fruit vendor who walks around large baskets all over. But I think they are elven. Yes. I saw it was an elven individual walking around just about. Oh, there they are. And he just says, yes, I caught them doing their route, and I made sure that I would spot them because the smell of the fruit is so good. And he waves them down. And as you see this blonde elven gentleman there, like a braided ponytail, starts bringing the fruit along, a kind of like black cloaked individual just kind of brushes past you a bit. I'd like you to roll a d20 and add 1 to this. This is going to be a perception roll, essentially.
Oh, I was so close to being a 19. That is a 6.
6. Okay.
Focus on what I need to acquire for others. I don't care what happens to me, obviously.
They brush past you, and then they also brush past the fruit vendor, and they stumble a bit as they kind of get knocked down, and they're just like, "Hey, what are you doing? I'm just trying to sell fruit here. Come on!" And they're stumbling to pick up their supplies back.
Now Mira will rush towards him and lend a hand, and would have used Mage Hand on impulse to try and catch any of the larger fruit before it hit the ground and splattered everywhere, and just offers it back to Vim. Are you quite all right, sir?
Oh, bless you, sister. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm all right, but just sometimes these people, they're in such a rush. They don't see where they're going. It's impossible to get anything done here in civilized manner. Yes, what can I get you?
Mr. Reland has kindly directed me to you. He said you might have possibly kyber fruit and stuff.
Oh, yes, I do. Just one moment, and he's trying to, maneuver around to bring, a different bag and just another basket. And suddenly you see he's kind of... What the... He turns around quickly, and he sees that the cloaked individual is now running away, and he notices the small burlap bag in his hand. He's got my coin! Someone stop him! Someone call the Sean Watch! He's got my coin! And you realize that he has been robbed.
Mira checks herself, knowing that the individual had also brushed past her, but not to the same extent as the fruit seller. Do I still have what the mother gave me?
What is missing from you is your prayer wheel.
I can always make another prayer wheel, but the gentleman cannot recuperate his lost profits in quite due time. Ryland, hold on to this for me, will you? I will be back momentarily. And she will leave the haversack that has the iced fish so it's safe and not getting bumped around, and she will do her best to try and take off after the black cloaked individual.
You run in pursuit, and I would like you now to roll a d20 and add +2.
17.
Perfect. You are able to catch up, and you are, dodging and getting by people. You're aware of the busyness of this city. You know how to get by. And a lot of people respectfully move out of the way for you because they understand the vestments. Some are really wondering, why is that sister running after... What is going on? And eventually, you are able to catch up. You bring a hand to their shoulder to try and, pull them back, and you turn around. They turn around, and they drop the bag, the cloak as well, and then you see them, just cover their face and run into a shady alley.
Am I able to sweep up what they dropped? Is it what they had just stolen?
Yeah, you do see the bag, but your prayer wheel seems to be still in the hand of that individual.
You want a prayer wheel, but not coin. Oh. She will pop the coin on her own belt inside one of the inner pockets of the vestments, so it doesn't go missing, and she will return that to its rightful owner as soon as possible. But that individual seemed quite distressed, and she just wants to know what's going on at this point. Curiosity killed the cat. Hopefully not the sister. Off we go towards the dark alley.
In pursuit, you do see that this individual has followed through.
I lost her super sister.
Super sister. Is that what you're getting called? Yes. You do see that they are cowering a bit, and they're in black tattered clothing. The cloak seemed to have been the nicest thing that was on them, but you kind of surmised that was probably stolen as well. They're holding on to a holy relic as well, like at least what you recognize is a person when they do that, holding onto it, chained around their neck, and they're looking at the prayer wheel, and you see that they are like almost shaking in just fear at this point, as they are cowered in a corner, covered in the shadow that is cascaded over by the building next to it.
Wait, I'm not going to harm you. I just want to know, are you alright? And then she holds out the cloak that they also dropped. Okay, I'm not angry with you, just worried.
I didn't want to do it. I'm sorry. They told me to. They told me to stay alive. I'm so sorry.
It's alright.
And he's just like writhing and like scratching his body just like out of just nerves.
Is there any source of light around here? Because Mira does not have dark vision.
There just on the he is in the shadow of the building where basically it is at an angle. Okay. It is daylight, so okay. you would be able to spot him.
Am I able to make out any suggestion as to what race or like age of this individual?
All you can see is that they are very pale, and their long, like greasy black hair covering their head, and a full, scraggly, dark black beard. No eyebrows to speak of, which is certainly noticeable. And their eyes seem like a milky white, with a very light blue hint in the pupils.
Here, take your cloak. Who told you what you needed to do? Who's this they you speak of?
They are the people who made me this way. I don't want to be this way. I did not want to be forced to do something I don't want to do. But they make me do things. They make me hurt people. I don't want to hurt people.
Mira lowers herself down to a crouch, so she's more on eye level with this individual, and says very gently, "Will you look at me?"
And he's very, very nervous to look up at you, and you see this pathetic face of desperation, gaunt features, his shoulders never being able to relax, it seems. His hands frail, but long fingers, very unkempt. Nails that seem to never have been taken care of, but almost sharp. And just, it's as if they're just like a creature that has been put out into the wild.
Physically, do they look hurt at all? Do they have any noticeable wounds or injuries?
You see a few scars along their face, and some cuts and bruises that probably go further down their clothing if you were to really inspect, but it seems like they have a lot of scars. Some more deeply embedded than others. I do not want to hurt you, but I fear they may make me.
You seem to be hurting yourself more than anyone at the moment. What is your name?
Because I deserve the punishment for what I have done.
What is your name?
My name is Dimitri.
Dimitri. It's nice to meet you, though I wish it was under better circumstances. My name is Mira, and I may know of people who can help you. if you're willing.
But they make me do things for them.
Nothing you don't want to do. If anything, I will ask them to help you. We can get cleaned up, have a hot meal, and see where we go from there.
Is there much light? I have not been in much light. It has been so long that it almost hurts. Everything hurts.
The district is lower than up here. There are enough comfortable shadows to walk freely if you wish to avoid the lights. But there are still times where the light from the sun will shine through remnants of a glass tower, and you can see it begin to dance and disperse on the street.
Kind of covers his eyes as some of the light is reflecting off windows, and you see it's just like painful to even look, and you can see he's just writhing in some sort of just awful feeling from the inside. Actually, can you give me you can either, we'll consider this nature or medicine, depending on how well you roll. And I will let you add +1 to it.
13.
Would you like to understand the nature of it or the medicinal aspect of what you can observe?
From her time with Faela, I would imagine the medicinal side.
Okay. This is the look of someone who is going through withdrawal. This is someone who is clearly dependent on something in order to survive. And unfortunately, it has been so long that they are going through every sign of pain.
You need something at this moment, and not having it is causing you pain. What is it?
I cannot say.
There is no judgment. Not under the presence of a silver flame. At least not with me. I can assure you that.
I want to be away from here, please. I do not want to be here.
Would you come with me down to the Fallen District? And she will take off her cloak, which is much thicker of material, I imagine, than what he has on, and just wrap it around him.
He embraces it, and he quickly puts the hood over his head, and he looks at you, and this is the first time you really catch his eyes, and they are desperate and sad, and a sunken-in face. I will follow.
Okay. I just have to do some shopping very quickly, but that is all on the way. And then I will bring you to Mother Faela. Alright?
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll be quick.
And as you gather your new food and remaining rest of the list, he helps you and assists you with carrying what he can. He's still very weak, but eventually the two of you are able to make it back to the temple.
As a gesture of goodwill, I would have had him return the coin pouch to the elven fruit seller.
He absolutely does. He begs multiple times for forgiveness, of which the shop owner is just more than happy to oblige. You know, though, if you weren't there, he'd be chewing that person out. So it is more of a courtesy to you.
Mm.
And
Yes.
along the way, you do learn that he is an exile from Karnath. He was treated poorly by family, by people that he thought he respected or could look up to. There were he had planned to be a teacher. He wanted to educate young minds in the ways of learning about nature and of learning about the many different fantastic creatures that come from across this world. You find out that he loves owl bears. He's just that he had a stuffed one when he was a young boy that he lost to some bully that decided to steal it from him. It's just story after story of just him like going through hardship after hardship, his family losing everything, a brother who went off into the war and was lost in the day of mourning. It is everything that can tug at someone's heartstrings.
Does it seem like he's being genuine, or is he saying all these things?
I was just about to ask you.
Yeah.
Let's say this will be +2 to your roll.
D20?
Yeah, just regular D20. It's funny when you can't, like, you're all 0,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like you have to make these things
17.
up on the fly. 17, okay. From what you can tell, the sadness in him is genuine, and it does not feel rehearsed, and it certainly doesn't feel like this, like some sort of scam that he will tell others to take advantage. This feels like it's coming from the heart.
How long have you been in this condition? She would ask.
The people who made me so dependent. It feels like forever, but I know it could not have been just more than a year at this point. But the pain
When he said,
feels so rough.
when he says the people who made me, at that point she subtle spell cast detect thoughts to sort of get a glimpse into those memories at the time.
And you hear him in that mindset saying, "Please do not be one of them. Please not be person who try to find me. I do not want to go back. I do not want this anymore." He's so fearful of who to trust.
Do I get any glimpses of faces at all?
It seems as though, like, when someone suppresses their memories too, and because of how painful it is, they are more of like a image of the figure and what they represent, and sometimes like people will match these with like a color or a vibe that you feel, and you just see these kind of like furious looking outlines of figures, and the occasional like soft featured one carrying that you kind of surmise might be a mother or some sort of parental type figure carrying, but then that vanishes away, feeling like it was ripped from Dimitri's self. And in just all of these, anytime that there's care, it seems that that is taken away, but anytime there is pain, it just hounds him.
We're almost there.
And in time, you finally reach the temple where Mother Faella is happy to meet you and sees the poor desperate soul standing by you who has felt more comfortable now being out of harsh sunlight that hurts their eyes, and just feels a little bit more comfort in a space where he doesn't feel like he can be seen as well because the way people look at him.
We have all sorts down here in the Fallen District. Most people have stopped looking twice at those others might shun up top. And upon seeing Mother Faela, she says, "Mother, this is Dimitri. We met at the marketplace."
He looks down out of respect, and Faela says, "Child, please, you're welcome here. While I respect your customs, they are of no need. We are all equals in the light of the flame. Please, you can look up at us." And he's weeping at that point, with like, no one's ever said so many kind things in such a short time between you and him arriving here. And he's just, I thank you so much for not making me be taken by more people. There's always someone who wants to take me away. Then they always end up hurting me. I don't want to hurt anymore.
He has an affliction, Mother. Are you familiar with it at all? Can we help at all?
She takes a moment. May I see your hands, Dimitri? And he's shy at first, but these frail hands go into hers. She takes them carefully, looks at them. My gosh. Young man, who did this to you? And he recoils. No, I cannot say. I cannot say. They may hear me.
If you think it, only I will hear you.
That is how they found me. They went through, and I hear in my mind, call to me. I cannot control it. It is as if I have lost all ability. It hurts all the time to try and stop it.
Mira is going to take a look around the surroundings. Does it seem like they might have been followed, or anyone is paying particularly close attention, given that this would not be the first time Mira, one of the other sisters or brothers, or affiliated members of Faela's associates have brought in someone they have found in need of help?
You do see that Akos is showing concern. He's just kind of never seen someone so, frail, and it doesn't seem like they're threatened by them, but they are certainly creeped out.
She will take a moment to leave Faela with Dimitri and just bring out the hellfire berries that she had wrapped in a small cloth and give them to Akos. As promised.
Oh my goodness! Oh, these are so good. I cannot wait. I know good a way to make a mix these with some. You know what? I surprise you. It's going to be great dessert. Great dessert. And he runs
We'll have
with
a
them.
good feed tonight.
He runs with them to a kitchen area, and Dimitri has just taken a seat in one of the stone pews of the church. And you see that he has kind of clasped his hands together, and it looks like he's praying. And you see the hand on the shoulder of Dimitri from Mother Faela. She looks at you. She goes, "You have once again shown why you are a gift to us. You brought this poor soul in, and immediately now he is accepting the light. How do you do it?"
Mira just says, "It is my nature to cause more suffering to those undeserving of it would only cause me more pain." I don't know, he seemed to be acting out of desperation, and we've seen that here time and time again.
You have a gift, my dear. That gift needs to be shared with the whole world if I was able to give you that power.
Again, she just sort of has an investment and looks away.
In time, the two of you welcome more. But unfortunately, the numbers of your order get smaller. To the point where it's just the two of you. And in the most desperate hour, looking for guidance, Mother Thala brings in a gentleman who is part of different missionaries, Elder Whedon. Introduced to you for the first time, you see that he is comforting to others, but you have caught that when he thinks people aren't listening, he is a bit more conservative in his nature and how he feels others should behave. And there are some guilt trips that he brings upon Mother Thala in that her discipline to keep others in the order is her fault. But as he makes his presence a bit more involved, time goes by and Sister and Mother Thala grows weaker. In just a year, she almost seems older from all the stress, like she's aged 10. And a year and a half passes. And as you preside over the funeral of Mother Thala, the church is filled with those you have saved. But you know this is more than likely the last time they're all going to be there. Because she was the one who held this all together. And though you don't see all of those patrons anymore, the years that you traveled with Elder Whedon, being the voice of reason to those who were those who were hesitant when listening to his preaching. He requests that you join him to set up a new church mission in Kabara, in a town that is being settled. And eventually you are there to help build this chapel. One you wished to save in due time. But in the back of your mind, that one poor soul who was hurting so much and you saw get better and better, and others join him, you saw the toll that it took on Mother Thala. And you do realize that the path of light, as you've been shown, may not always shine brightest at the end.
Oof.
And with that, we will take our next break as this story concludes, and we will bring our third and final on What's Past is Prologue. I also just realized my entire thing was muted. So, I'm going to start that again. It's a good thing, too, because I'm stalling. I want to thank everybody who's been watching tonight. Truly appreciate you joining us on this experimental journey of telling some stories of the past for our character to get to know our characters better. Of course, my stream is not the only stream here on 2B Diced. We also have the Dimensional Dial of Dr. Diago on Wednesday nights. We have Tales of Varden on Fridays, and we also have Legends of the Shattering on Tuesday nights. We do a talkback show every now and then called TBD Talks, where different cast members of different shows get together and just talk about what we've been going through different campaigns. And a lot of us are can be found on TikTok, and you can see our screen names right below our names there. So give everybody a follow, as well as the 2B Diced ADV everywhere online. Coming up, we do have some things over the next couple of weeks. You're going to be seeing more stories like this. There should be a total 9, and these are going to be little more and more little glimpses in with individualized stories about our heroes of Wormwatch. And now we're going to go to our next tale. Our next tale being that of one hell of a witch. Ivara. It is just about a half a year into you working for this madam in Wormwatch, which in the future you will come to inherit as your own. But right now, you're still fairly new. However, you and several other of the working girls of that facility have decided to take all of your earnings and go on a little bit of a vacation to the metropolis known as Sharn. And right now, you are arriving at Tavik's Landing, the gateway to Sharn. The House Orion Lightning Rail Station at Terminus brings in hundreds of travelers each day, and many more who arrive via the Old Road, the main sort of highway of sorts, at a spot in the city called Rowan's Gate. In many ways, Tavik's Landing is it's like the Pennsylvania station of Sharn. It's also its most eclectic quarter, blending residential areas with commercial and entertainment districts that cater to traders and travelers, all sorts of tourists who pass through the city. And an entire district, actually, of Lower Tavik's Landing has been actually converted to house Syrian refugees since the war, and others who have been dislocated since then. But the remainder of the area is absolutely, essentially the Times Square of this city. Who have you brought along with you on this trip?
So, Ivara would be traveling with her 3 main ladies, which would be Shimmer, Olga, and Cinnamon. Shimmer is a changeling, and she currently is just very short, about 5 feet tall, with red hair and freckles, but it's more of like a brownish auburn hair. And she is wearing just like a cute little jeans, some chaps, and a cute little tied up flannel shirt. And then we have Olga, who is a half orc, and she is wearing her hair in braids. She has like almost platinum blonde hair, and just a very like broad shoulders, broad features, standing at about 7 feet, 7'2", very big. She looks very intimidating, but she is actually wearing like a very nice, like kind of um almost kind of like a skirt and a almost like a business suit. She's trying to kind of look nice being in the city. But you could totally tell that the seams on the back of the jacket she's wearing are a little bit strained and ripped. And then Cinnamon is a half elf who is just very soft spoken, very sweet. She has long dark hair, and she is just wearing a pretty white frilly dress.
And you have decided to hit the town. It has been a good week. You had all saved up, and now it is time to spoil yourself rotten. What would be the first thing that you're looking to do in this huge city?
Considering that like she spends most of her time in the tavern and like usually either drinking coffee or drinking beer or working, she would probably go out shopping with some of the girls and get a few new outfits and buy some stuff for the brothel back at the house or back at the home.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you find an eclectic series of stores of all sorts of cultures. You find some really nice antique elven furniture and rugs and tapestries. You get yourself some nice curtains that you're able to, that what you can reasonably take home, as it is a long trip back. But you also find very beautiful and very good-looking dresses for all of you. There are tailors there who, not you, Taylor, but Taylor. There are plenty of seamstresses and tailors that are able to craft you premier clothing that you all know is going to be saved for only the most special of guests. And after,
VIP.
yeah, after enough money has been spent, you find yourself being able to still have enough left over to eat in one of Sharn's finest restaurants, known as Sanid's. Known for an extensive wine collection. Cuisine is a spicy Brelish fare, which is the nation that Sharn is located in. Selected entrees representing the best of the continent's other cuisines, including Kanathi sausage and Ondarian veal with tomato gravy, and a Morian stroganoff, which is a delectable dish from the dwarven culture. Wines come from all over the world, and Sanid's proudly offers Arenal spirits to its most selective customers. Only the top shelf of elven spirits when it comes to those willing to spend a little more. And as you arrive, looking your best, all of you adorned in what you believe to be the classiest of clothing, you're still yourselves.
Oh yeah.
There is no reason why you wouldn't be going in loud.
Oh yeah, no, like as soon as like the one thing you first hear is just Olga just like slamming open the door and like the door will like hit the back of the wall and she will walk up like, I would like a table for 4, please.
There is a shocked, just shocked tiefling gentleman, very wispy mustache, slicked silver-colored hair, and his horns kind of curl back along with it. Go ahead.
Smash.
Thank you.
You knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming. And in a very fine suit, long coattails, just looking pointed up. Is that so? Do you have a reservation?
So Ivara's gonna come in behind Shimmer and Cinnamon coming in from behind there. So you said we were able to pick a feat, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I decided to pick the actor feat.
Okay.
Give me a moment, let me look it back up. I'm
Yes,
still
the
learning.
air has in the room gone sucked out at least by your presence, and as everyone is just kind of, oh my.
So I have advantage on charisma, deception, or performance, and I
Okay.
can also mimic the speech of another person or sounds made by other creatures.
I
But
would say
Ivara's
that you can persuade, so you can just have I will give you a flat d20 roll with advantage, and then you can add +1 to that.
all right. That will be a 19 plus 1 for a filthy 20, good sir.
Why do you all say it like that? All right,
Sounds
and he immediately is just looking to you and just, my dear, I couldn't help but notice you are perhaps the one who has the reservations here, of course. If you don't know, that's no issue. I'm sure we can find a table for all four lovely of you.
Ivara is just gonna kind of just place her hand on the podium. She's just gonna kind of lean in. She's gonna curl her hair a little bit. She goes, "Well, darling, my name is Ivara, but we unfortunately do not have a reservation here. But if at all possible, I would absolutely love a table in the corner, possibly facing this here door."
You see him snap his fingers, and a human male comes rushing up, and he's like, Jeremy, escort these four lovely ladies to our corner table, and make sure it's the one with the beautiful view of the Sky District, if you will. And he
Ivara
just looks.
will
Yeah.
take out 2 pieces of gold. She will gently press her lips against it before slipping it into his front pocket and gently patting his cheek. "Thank you, darling." And she will
Oh,
follow
no,
the
no.
gentleman to the
Pleasure
table.
is all mine. And he just kind of like shakes his head in a moment of like, what the fuck just happened? And Olga looks at you and just, how is it that you are able to do such things? You're so vibrant. Uh-oh, I may lose her. Oh, I warn you folks, this may happen a bit, just because.
I think we're good.
Okay, I can still hear you. So
Okay, you
Olga
can still
says
hear
to you,
me?
how do
All right,
how do you
I
do
can see you now.
how do you do all this? You are so charming to all the people. They love you so much.
Ivara will just flash a smile and look up at Olga, and she goes, "Well, there's one thing I've learned is as long as you can please people, people will do almost just about anything for you. But you just gotta learn to say the right thing and have the right moves. I was raised in a brothel, you know."
Yes, we all know. um, and Shimmer was the name of the changeling.
Yes.
Yes, you've seen that she has decided to take the form of a half-elven, red-haired, very like volumed haired individual, and much like she feels like it's her little sister look to kind of match yours as she looks up to you so much, and she's just like, I cannot believe we are here. As you're all sitting at the table, you've all been served your waters, and there's bountiful basket of bread from all sorts of cultures, and it's just Olga is just, this is wonderful. Like there's so much. I love this. There are
Ivara is just
looks from others at the tables being given your way. Some are less favorable, but they certainly don't want to be the one to try and disrupt this, because you had to be of some, stature to be in here, or else why would you be here? Perhaps you're just a little unorthodox. Jeremy, the young gentleman waiter who assisted you, is like, ladies, we have been told that you are to be given our finest main course. It is truly a treat to have such a wonderful, charming presence here. I never really talk this much, so I don't necessarily know why. I'm going to bring it out, and you see it's like a prefixed menu, so it's basically got all of the things ready for it, but it is just like the finest of fine dining meals that you have only heard and read about in like stories and books of romance novels. I'd like you now to give me another d20 roll. Just flat d20 roll. No modifiers.
All right.
Oh no! She rolled so well that she disappeared. Don't worry, Taylor will be back. I do expect, unfortunately, for a little bit this to be an issue. If for any reason we do have to cut the story a little shorter than usual, though, we will make sure to pick up. But to set the scene a little bit more, you will see that in this restaurant, there are many high society types. There are those who have been watching this table of four loud and boisterous women just enjoying life to the fullest. And in this city, it truly is something to behold when societies clash. Because a culture war is not anything that anyone wants, and it's certainly almost purposeful that the houses have divided the city into tiers of what they believe to be who should be around who. And we're seeing that play out in an eating scenario, where all of a sudden disruption comes in the form of four women who are just enjoying life, and the stately types and the others that are trying to preserve their austere are looking upon them with great distaste. So while that happens, we are going to just wait for our friend to return, and then we will be back with the rest of the story. And we're back.
So sorry about that.
No. Well, I filled in a little bit of the gaps. So the four of you
I'm
are
listening on my...
the four of you are enjoying yourself so much. What did you end up result in your roll? Oh no.
Surprisingly, I rolled another 19. I have
Nice.
it right here if you would
I believe
like
you. I
to
believe you.
analyze the blue boy.
So you've had this notion inside you that things have been acting uncharacteristically in your favor since you found the book that you keep at your side this whole time. The other girls don't question it too much. They just think it's a personal possession that you care about. Perhaps you use it as a journal. No one's really bothered, but everyone has at least noticed that you have gained some confidence. Some air about you is different. And it's what draws them to you to be kind of their, older sister of sorts. How have you felt? How has Ivara felt since this sudden kind of personality shift? Knowing what you've had in the past life.
I will say, I think Ivara probably feels like she's kind of getting her groove back after a while. She's kind of been in very much of a daze. Like, she's been functioning, but she really kind of has just been kind of going through the motions. She makes sure she does what the madam needs her to get done. She makes sure the girls are safe and taken care of, and she just kind of goes throughout her day. But like, she puts on her smile and works her customer service self, but she never really kind of was looking into like what she wanted for herself. She kind of was more focusing on working and ignoring everything that has like been going on in her mind and what she was trying to process and kind of trying to start over at the same time. And finding this book and kind of reading through it, she's kind of grown. She started asking questions about herself and started kind of putting power into what she wanted. She started to want again, and kind of finding almost a drive upon reading this book and questioning herself and what she could be capable of.
And your friends have noticed that when you first came in, there was a frailty about you. A bit of brokenness that they could see. Something that they're all accustomed to. But you couldn't help yourself but be the one to help them when they needed it most as well. And you earned their respect when you defended them from those who almost tried to do something terrible. And you stopped the bad seeds from trying to plant themselves in that establishment. You're kind of the second in command at this point. And that's why you were trusted to go out and have this fun vacation with them. Your boss knew they were in good hands. And in spite of all of this, and regardless of whatever looks anyone in this highfalutin restaurant may be giving you, you know that right now this is the moment that matters most. It's something that you have, that can't be taken from you, and that's the most important part. As you feel this inside, you do catch the corner of your eye, you swear, there a blue shimmer across the cover of your book. But it probably was just some sort of reflection from the window. So the four of you pay your bill, no problem. A generous tip to Jeremy. Shimmer actually leaves a little note sealed with her lipstick and puts it into Jeremy's pocket. The flush of red that comes over his face as he just politely waves bye to her and she blows a kiss to him. Four of you just laughing at this and taking a skiff in through the city, this floating gondola with a cover on it. You have enough to essentially ride it throughout the whole city. We're going to call this one essentially we're going to treat this role as perception. So I'm going to have you just add +1 to it.
+1? All right.
Mm-hmm. Did you? Okay.
I
What?
do not know what is going on right now.
Of all the times to be rolling it,
I know.
this city is
Why didn't this happen?
huge.
We were fighting a
Yeah.
god.
So this city is huge. It is called the City of Towers, very much for the obvious reason of spires that make up the length of the city, because it isn't so much a widespread metropolis, and there she goes again. So like I was saying, it's a widespread metropolis, but there are so many sights to behold. All of the girls are just oohing and eyeing over every single thing. And there are sky races that go through the city. And as you're observing all of this, I'll ask you, what is something Ivara was looking forward to seeing in the city the most? Out of all the things she...
Out of all the things she'd want to see in the city. Trying to think. Honestly, I feel like she would definitely seek out like the entertainment district. She would want to see like kind of like think of it like a Vegas trip, like going to see a bunch of performances, burlesque shows, like definitely like just at least like visiting some brothels and just tipping girls because like you got to take care of your own, you know, and just like I think she would really want to like go to the entertainment district and just like watch the shows, the street performers, maybe like get some vendor food.
There is a little known area in the lower wards, which is called it's known essentially as it's the equivalent of being the red light district of the area. It is it's an area called the Underlook. Now the Underlook is the center for Sharn's nightlife. The district is filled with fine restaurants and inns and other forms of entertainment. In addition, there's a wide number of businesses that are, while not illegal, often held in low regard, which means that's the place to be. So you end up in this district, and there are nightclubs that don't look great, and there are taverns that look like more than times that window's been broken, as you see the one next to it, someone being thrown through that window. But a half-orc bouncer being on hand as they're reading a latest Sharn Inquisitive, just quickly casting Mending onto the window as it goes right back up. And there is the Galadra Hall, one of the finest inns that is still around in Underlook. And it is now the spot to go to when it comes to nightlife. Galanda Hall is featuring a variety of performances on their main stage. there is open dancing and an even better bar. Shimmer and Cinnamon are immediately beelining it. In the meantime, when Shimmer had an opportunity, she changes her appearance to more of like an Esmeralda from Hunchback. And
Party clothes.
go ahead, say it again.
Smash.
We love that, like, that's your catchphrase. So here in this beautiful building turned into a hotspot of frivolity, there are all sorts, all in a very similar young age range around yours, just dancing to an amazing band that is playing music. There is the music, the sounds amplified through magical means throughout the entire floor. Lights are dancing all across. There are just it's loud. It's energetic, and there are plenty of people to experience a wonderful night of frivolity with, alongside your own. Give me another d20 roll, but this time add 2. No! I made her roll so well, she had disappeared again. It's okay. This happens. We're aware that sometimes technical difficulties come into play. Who among us hasn't had their internet drop out at the most inopportune time? There they are. Did you add 2?
I heard a d20 roll plus 2.
Yes.
All right, I got to my good lucky blue boy.
Okay.
He's been rolling real nice today. Oh, there it went 2.
There's so many people.
So
it's
that
kind of
would be
hard.
cool.
It's kind of hard to like spot somebody even to dance with. So you just stick with the girls. You kind of do that thing where you put your shoes in the center and just kind of all stand, dance around it. Look, it's a thing, guys. I know it's a thing. I don't know why it happens, but it's a thing.
Cotton Eye Joe comes on. Olga starts like kicking her feet out. Like people are like fucking hitting the deck.
It's insane. There are a few guys who decide to try and get in on the dancing with the other 3 of you, the other 3 of the party, and eventually, you know, it wasn't immediate, but there is a half elf that seems to catch your eye. What would you say is your type? Ivara's type. Because this is them.
Ivara's type would probably be somebody who is, in a way, very charismatic as she is. Like, someone who can handle good banter.
Mm-hmm.
And as for how they would look, she isn't exactly picky when it comes to looks, but she does, like, a nice, like, handsome face.
Mm-hmm.
As for age, she's prefers either like people around her age or like a little bit older men.
And you kind of get that vibe as he kind of just gives you like a knowing glance, and he's got his drink in hand leaning against one of the pillars that is supporting the balcony above. And he kind of just gives you a look of like, yeah, if you want to join me, come on over. Oh, did I flirt so hard that I destroyed her internet again? Is this the power that has been given to me as a DM? This is insane. Don't worry. We'll get her back. Anyway. Oh, I'm looking at the comments and people just again, thank you all for enjoying all of this. I'll switch to just this until she's able to come back. So, what I'm going to tell her, there is a half elf. It's basically checking her out. I'm trying to. I've been looking for like club music, but I don't have anything of the sorts. I should have uploaded something like that. So let's just go with. I don't know. Nothing heavy. I can't play Cantina music because that is owned by the richest company that could kill us. All right, so we'll be we're gonna be back in a little bit, so hang tight. Oh. I was right? Was I right? Yay! Okay. I thought I flirted so hard that your internet broke. So yeah, half-elfin gentleman, your type, checking you out.
Ivara will probably order an old-fashioned, kind of taking the cherry put on top of the drink. She's just gonna kind of dip it in the drink for a moment before she goes to take a sip, and she is going to make her way over to the gentleman, and she is not going to say anything. She's just going to lift the glass to her lips and just raise a brow.
He does the same. I'm going to roll a d20, and I'm going to have you roll one as well.
All right.
Okay, interesting.
Let's go with my little black dice for this one. That is a 17.
Yeah. You get him to be the one to speak first.
Ha 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 ha! Victory!
I rolled a 13. He comes over and he says, "So, you here for the party?"
I'm just here for a good time, darling. Feel like doing whatever I want, hitting the town, having fun with my girls. What about you?
That is not the voice that I expected to come out, but I am pleasantly surprised as he looks at you.
Oh, honey, what were you thinking? Some posh city girl accent?
I was hoping not. I am absolutely pleased with the result. It's a bit loud here. Upstairs is a little bit quieter. If you want
I would
to
like
talk up
to
there.
insight check this guy.
Sure. We'll add +1 to this.
All right. Fuck, that is a 7 + 1 for an 8.
Seems pretty on the level. But you've also heard this kind of talk before.
Oh, yeah. Ivara is going to glance over at her girls, and she's just going to kind of tap her finger twice on her glass to let her know, or like let her girls know that she is going to be networking. And she's then going to turn and flash a smile and just go, "Well, darling, lead the way."
And he does. You get up to the balcony area, and you are looking right out over the dance floor. You can see your girls there having still a good time. Olga, every now and then, looking up. Just, like, she's smiling when she's down there, and she looks up to see you and just kind of gives, like, death glare to the guy, and then back to dancing.
I will say, out on the balcony, she will pull out a silver container of and open it up, and there will be cigarettes. And as she places one in her lips, the very faint scent of sage, rosemary, and lavender mixed with tobacco and a touch of cloves comes off of it. and she's going to look at the gentleman for a light.
He knows that look and absolutely is able to. He reaches into his pocket, but you don't see him take out a lighter. Instead, he snaps his finger and a flame appears on it. And he brings it to the cigarette.
Ivara, kind of like for a moment, like she tries to keep her cool, but like just for a split second, like you kind of see her brow just go, like just inch up for just a moment, noticing the flame as he lights her cigarette with his finger. And I will never settle, Tarzan. And she will then take a long inhale before pursing her lips in a O shape, and she will send a smoke ring around his head.
He smiles at that, and he says, "I'm Griffin."
Griffin? You can call me Ivara.
Lovely to meet you, Ivara.
And she will extend a brown leather gloved hand out for him to shake.
And he takes it and just gives the slightest, just smallest, gentlest onto your finger.
Such a gentleman. She just flashes us another smile, taking another long drag of her cigarette before blowing the smoke off to the side. And she kind of leans against the balcony a little bit, just one of her elbows leaning against it. Her hip is cocked out, and the green dress that she's wearing has a bit of a slit up the side, and so her leg is just kind of propped as she goes into the basic...
This is a power move.
The power move bitch dance, you know what I mean? And she is then just gonna look at him and just go, "Well, you're the one who brought me up here. You better have some interesting conversation or something interesting to say about yourself. I will say the little party trick you did there was definitely caught my eye."
Thank you. If you want something interesting, I'm a sorcerer.
Sorcerer. So you have the ability to use magic on your own terms, right? You don't need to study it or anything?
No, just naturally gifted, as it were.
Naturally gifted. Well, do you work as a sorcerer? Do you go on adventures and fight dragons and save damsels in distress?
Well, I don't know about all that, but sure, if you were in distress, I'd be more than happy to save you. I did it again.
Oh, darling.
Oh, there it is.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
As Ivara said, she would have just responded.
Yeah.
She goes, "Oh, darling, I'm never in distress."
You don't seem like the type who would need someone to save you. You seem more like the person who saves others. I saw how
You could say that.
your friends were looking at you, and it seemed like you're the leader, if you will.
Well, let's just say I make sure the girls are taken care of, and anyone who messes with them, they gotta mess with me. And I might be small, but I can tell you one thing. I can pack quite a bit of a punch.
I respect that. You know, there is something about you that is just... I don't know what it is. It's just like a magnet, you know? It's just drawing me in. Give me... This is going to be Arcana. So I want you to roll this with +2.
All right, I'm gonna do my pink dice with this one. That is a 13 plus 2 for a 15.
You have this growing sensation that maybe as much as you are, and know yourself to be a charismatic person, something innately feels that this is a bit much to draw in someone so quickly and so seemingly organically. And you think to yourself, did I do this? And you can tell that he is charmed, but in the technical sense.
Upon hearing that line, Ivara just almost lets out like a a trilling kind of chuckle, just like, oh dear. Is that all the lines that you say to people, darling?
To be honest, I didn't even realize until I saw you that I felt suddenly compelled to just talk to only you. I didn't even intend to talk to anyone. I just came here for a good time and hang out with people and have a few drinks, but then I saw you and something happened. I mean, it's never felt that quick a rush. And as he's saying these things, you see that there's kind of like this haze over his look. And it doesn't feel like it's a natural means of him telling you these things.
I'm accidentally fucking casting fucking spells on this guy. Oh no. Oh dear God. It's gonna be like charmed. Upon noticing his face, she is going to first lift her hand. She's going to just gently touch his cheek, and then she's going to move her finger in front of him and snap her fingers in front of him. And she's gonna go, Griffin, darling, you there?
I'm sorry. Sorry, do I know you?
Ivara just smiles, and she takes another drag of her cigarette, and she goes, oh, I think you had a bit too much to drink, sweetheart. I appreciate the light, though. You have a good night now, sweetheart. And she's just going to gently pat him on the cheek before walking away, her heels clicking as she goes back inside.
He's standing there confused. But you walk, and you see that the girls are now just at the bar and enjoying some drinks, laughing it up with the bartender. And when you show up, almost compulsory, he brings you a drink.
The same guy?
No, this is the bartender.
Oh, the bartender. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
pours it, like, just...
What kind of drink is it?
It's a martini of sorts.
Ooh. Ivara will pick up the martini. She'll gently swirl the glass around, taking in the scent of the vodka and the vermouth. And that was lined with the glass. She will pick up the olive from inside the glass and just eat it off the toothpick before setting it aside, and then slowly taking a sip of her martini. And she will turn to the bartender and
it's
just...
delicious.
Yes.
he is being flagged down by several others, and they're starting to get annoyed because he is not paying attention to them. um, eventually, he just kind of like shakes his head out of it and goes back to doing his job with giving the other ones. And I'm going to roll something, and I would like you to roll. And we're going to count this as deception, so you can add +2 to it.
All right. That is a 9 + 2 for a 10.
Okay, so Shimmer got a 12. So she sees you. And what are you actually feeling right now versus what your face shows?
I would say it would kind of seem like her face. She's very deep in thought. Just still kind of like looking in her martini glass a bit and just slowly sipping on it, glancing back at Griffin, before kind of just again realizing that this kind of charisma that she has, this allure that she has, is something beyond natural, that it's something that she's somehow like either like manifesting, or how like is she like a late blooming sorceress or something. She's not like she's not quite sure exactly like where this allure is coming from, but she does like see that it's there, and in a way it kind of worries her, in a way it kind of doesn't.
And Shimmer reads this off of you, basically. And she just gently pats your hand. She says, "Hey, you okay?"
Ivara will kind of shake her head for a minute, looking away from her martini, and she'll just flash a smile at Shimmer or at Glimmer. And
Oh, Glimmer. I'm sorry. I've been saying the wrong name.
and I think it is Shimmer. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, Shimmer, Glimmer, fabulous sparkles. She will just flash a smile, and she just kind of shrugs a little bit. She goes, "It's just something weird kind of happened when I was out there with that gentleman. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I guess just only time can tell at this point. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just not ready to get out there. You know, got a lot of work to do. Got to make sure you girls are taken care of."
She just kind of looks at you, and she knows that when you kind of answer a bit long-winded like that, something's up. She kind of looks at the other girls, and Olga has stopped challenging others to arm wrestling, and she has been convinced might be time to pack it in and find an inn for the night. And eventually you do. You go to the Gilded Dragon Inn, which is not too far. It's a nice setting. Nice room. You're able to split a suite between the four of you and each have your own respective beds. But Shimmer knocks on the door before peeks her head in. "Hey, I know I asked before, but are you okay?"
Ivara will probably be like in a bit of like a short nightie of sorts. She has her hair down, which she usually keeps kind of sometimes tied up in like a loose bun or pinned back, but she was brushing through her hair, and she still has her green pendant on, and she kind of turns, seeing Shimmer yet again, and hearing her ask if she was all right. She just nods. She goes, I promise, darling, I'm fine. You don't need to worry about me. It's sometimes those crazy thoughts just get in your head, and you just keep thinking about them, you know? It'll pass." And she will kind of just turn back to brushing her hair.
She takes a seat next to you, and she just takes a deep sigh. You know, you're my best friend. And you've done so much for me. And I just have always admired how confident you are and how strong you are, and you inspire me a lot. And I don't want you to think that it's because of whatever is going on right now. I've admired you from the moment you said you were going to look out for us. You know, as we all got to know you more, and you were able to open up to us and trust us, you really do feel like family. And I know that there's all those guys out there that are always drawn to you, and maybe not always for the right reasons, but you do it with class. You're really dignified out there. I think that's where you're really the most powerful. You know your worth. I hope to be like you someday.
Ivara kind of sniffles just a little bit hearing this, and she just kind of reaches out and she gently just kind of pats the side of her head, gently kind of just brushing the strands of hair from her face. And she just then lifts her face up a little bit and she goes, "Darling, you are already doing a fantastic job at doing you. I appreciate the kind words, but I told you I was going to take care of you, and I keep that promise. I always keep my promises. And I can promise you the way that you're going, you are nothing but a fine, classy young lady. You saw how we worked in that restaurant, and you were just having men fawning all over you."
You know we all love you, right?
I love you guys. Why else do you think I would have to take my best 3 girls on the best day in their lives out on the city? We hardly get to go on vacation as it is.
She gives you a big hug. She thanks you for this amazing trip and the time that you've been able to bond together. Takes a deep sigh and just goes back to her room. And with you now, just in this moment, still wondering, what is it about everything that's happened in your life that's made you get to this point where so many now rely on you? You fought in and out of how to get through the darkest times in your life. And then one day you found something that unlocked a feeling you've always wanted, and an ability you always wish you could use all the time. And you're still learning at this point in your life how that works, and why it had to be you that was gifted with it. And in those years that will go by, you will come to understand more and more about what it is that you are, and what it is you've come to know about yourself. And as time goes forward, having just left the hardest fought battle you have ever had so far, you know that it is now once again your turn to step up and bring what you know you can do best to those who are trying to take it away from you. And with that, we conclude our stories tonight. Next week, 3 more tales, and 3 more glimpses into the past. Because on this particular stories of Frontiers of Eberron, what's past is prologue, and what lies ahead remains to be seen. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time on To Be Diced.